What's up guys, Uncasual Gamer here, and today we are looking at 5 Xbox 360 games that you should consider picking up right now. So with the explosion of the Xbox 360 market in recent times, I think that all these 5 games are going to shoot up massively in price and or get much rarer too. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So just a bit of background first of all. As you'll be aware, Xbox 360 games have been kind of going through the roof recently. That's with a store closing at the end of July this year. We've seen collectors start grabbing them, start building their collection. People like myself who grew up with the 360 are now at a bit of an older age where we can afford to invest back into some of the games that we loved growing up. I've got about 250 games at the moment in my 360 collection. It's my favourite system of all time. And obviously there's no science behind these, or there's not much science behind these, so these are kind of just 5 games that I've picked out. I'll explain why I think they're going to go up. There is some reasoning, some method to the madness, and then obviously it's up to you whether you go out and purchase them. And also just to mention that I'm going to be focusing more on the collecting side of things. So although I have played 2 of these games, the other 3 I got quite recently, I've not had time to play them yet. In this video, we're going to be talking more about monetary value, how they look on the shelf, collector point of view, rather than playability. I'll mention maybe some of the review scores, if they did well, if they were considered a good game or a bad game. But we're not going to be jumping into gameplay videos. So yeah, just to caveat that before the start. So yeah, let's get into number 1. So number 1 is Leisure Suit Larry Box Office Bust. Now this game came out in 2009, so really in the middle of the 360 lifespan. It heavily bombed in terms of critics and reviews. It did really bad. It got like a 2 out of 10, I think, on things like IGN and GameSpot, etc. It's currently £4 in CX, this one. So it's a game that you don't really see often. It's a bit of an unusual title. I'd really never heard of it. I think it is part of a wider series, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think this was one of the latter ones. So this was like £1 in CX a few months ago. It's now up to £4. Now, there only are 7 in stock across the country at the moment. So I think this is going to easily get up to, I think in the near future it's going to be £8. £10 probably in the next couple of months, and I can see it going even higher. It sold 160,000 copies like worldwide, which is, obviously like absolutely terrible. So there's not many of it around. There's not many online at the moment. And yeah, it just looks good on the shelf. It's got the nice purple spine. So it does stand out if you're a collector and you've got on display like myself. It's a good one to have. But yeah, I think this is going to be a £10 game in the next year. So game number 2 is Digimon All-Star Rumble on the Xbox 360. Believe it or not, this is a Digimon game, but it only sold 100,000 copies worldwide. And that's because this came out in 2014, which was actually like past the end of the life cycle almost for the 360. The Xbox One was out at this point, so the 360 variant did not sell well at all, understandably. Massive name Digimon. Obviously the cover art looks great if you're into that kind of thing. I think it's the only Digimon game on Generation 7 consoles as well. I picked this up for £10 at the start of the year, I think in January at CX. CX have now got it for £20. I was lucky enough to get it complete as well, in box with a manual. I think this will be going up to £40 in the future. It's Digimon, so it's a big franchise. It's got a lot of fans. People are always going to be interested in it, so it's always going to sell well on the secondary market. Cover art looks absolutely brilliant. Again, the spine looks great on the shelf, a nice bright blue colour. I think on eBay you can get it a tad cheaper than CX at the moment. How long that will stay, I'm not sure. Some games on this list are cheaper on CX, some are cheaper on eBay. So, check the both. I think it's £20 on CX at the moment, and it maybe goes for a little bit less than that on eBay. But getting one complete in box obviously should be the aim with this one, because it does keep going up in value, and it does become a £40, £50 game in the next year or so. Then having a complete in box one will make it worth all that much more. Okay, so game number 3 is South Park, The Stick of Truth. This is a game that, as you can see, I paid £3.50 for. It's now £5 on CX. I only bought this like 2 weeks ago, so it's gone up in price like very, very recently. It's an unusual game. It's obviously a game that's got a big name with a lot of fans in terms of South Park. It looks pretty fun, and then I should expect with a South Park game pretty manic. And this also came out in 2014, and it sold 1 million units. So it came out right at the end of the 360 life cycle, similar to Digimon. But it did sell better than Digimon. It sold like 10 times more. So whether it'll go up quite as much, I don't know. I just think it's one of those unusual titles that is creeping up in value now, and I think will continue to do so. I don't think many people will have had this game and played it, so maybe collectors who are getting off, people like myself who have now grown up and going back into the 360 might look to have a go on it. And once again, like I mentioned with Digimon, and like we mentioned with Larry, the spine on this one looks really good too. Okay, so game number 4, and this is a game that almost every YouTuber in the country at the moment or in the world is saying pick up because it's going up in value and it's worth loads. It's one of the heavy hitters on the 360, and that is Lollipop Chainsaw. And I think right off the bat, one of the reasons is that cover art. That cover art absolutely stands out. It looks absolutely fantastic. The colours popping on there. The game itself, I've played it. It plays exactly as you'd expect from the cover art. You're walking out with a chainsaw and it's pretty. It's mayhem basically. You're wiping out zombies. It's quite a short game. I think it's like a 7-hour game. This game came out in 2012, so also towards the end of the 360's life cycle. It scored pretty well. I think it was like the 7 out of 10 mark, 7 or 8 out of 10s, and it sold 500,000 units only. So again, not one of the biggest selling games, which is probably why it's doing well now. What I would say is this was, I think it was £25. I think it was like 18, then 25, and now it's 32 in CEX. So it is shooting up. There are copies, I think there's like 20 copies in CX at the moment online or across the country. However, I would be careful. My local store in Halifax has got one in. I went down to Halifax and it hasn't got the manual. And I think when you're paying like over £30 for a game like this one, and it's going to go up even more, you do really want it complete in box. I managed to get this one on eBay. I paid a tad more than the CEX price. I think I paid like $34 to get a complete in box version. On eBay, the cheapest one you can pick up now is around, I think, like the 45, 50 mark. And what we're seeing at the moment is we're seeing some PS3 games now getting to the £100 mark. We've seen Nintendo DS games, so from a similar era, getting to the £100 mark. And I think we're going to see 360 games by the end of this year getting to the £100 mark. Things like your Spider-Man Web of Shadows, which is around 80. And if 360 games get to the £100 mark and cross it, this is one of the games that will be up there. This is one of the heavier hitters. It's one of the games that's going to keep growing. And as the 360 collectors keep growing the market, the secondary market, then this will be one of the heavy hitters. And I can see this one getting up to £80, £100 in the future. So yeah, obviously it's a heavier hitter one. Obviously it's a bit more money than they were spoken about. But if you've not already got it, I would urge you to pick this up sooner rather than later. And finally, number 5. Now this game is, I'd say, a wild card because you might already own it, you've probably played it. It's not a game that you'd associate with, like a hidden gem or a title to pick up that you might not be aware of because it's a huge game. And that is GTA Episodes from Liberty City. And there's 2 main reasons why I've included this on the list. Okay, so firstly, as people are growing their Xbox 360 collections, and it's only going to get bigger than what we've seen in the first few months of this year. Something just started, really. It's going to get even bigger and more people are going to jump on the bandwagon and want to build 360 collections. People are going to want to get complete subsets. They're going to want to get all the Halos. They're going to want to get all the Need for Speeds. They're going to want to get all the Forzas, etc., etc., etc. And the GTAs, there was 3 games on the 360, and they look great having them together. You're going to want all 3 of them. Now, GTA 5 sold 16 million units or 15 million units. GTA 4 sold 11 million units. And Episodes from Liberty City only sold 2.6 million units. So, if everyone's getting a copy, and I'm not saying 15 million people are collecting 360 and going to have GTA, but this sold like a 1/7 of much of GTA 5 and like a 1/5 of what GTA 4 sold. So if you are going for all 3 and you want all 3 on your shelf together, then the other 2 are going to be readily available and you're going to be able to grab them. When you're looking, people are going to be looking for this one a little bit harder. It's maybe not going to creep up as much. I think it's currently £6 in CX. I think it was actually 8 and it might have dropped a couple of quid. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100%. But I can just see this game going up. And the other reason is that most people like myself, a lot of my friends, they played GTA 4, they played GTA 5 when they were growing up and joined the 360 era. They didn't play Episodes from Liberty City, and that's because this was obviously like an expansion or an add-on. Now, you don't actually need GTA 4 to play this, you can just buy this game and play it independently by itself. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think you need GTA 4 to play it, and you don't. But yeah, I think that people now who are jumping back into that era of games and they've played GTA 4 and played GTA 5, this is maybe the one that they'll go to and think, oh, I never played that back in the day. I'll give it a go now. And for those two reasons, I think that this, even though it sold 3 million units and it's a huge game that you'd think people know about and played, I think this will steadily start to creep up. I don't think it'll be worth tons of money just because of the units it sold, but I think it'll be worth. I can easily see it hitting £15 in the next year, maybe 20. I was looking to get this one at CX in absolutely fantastic condition. And yeah, it just looks great on the shelf with the other Grand Theft Autos. So yeah, they are the 5 games that we've gone through. I think together, when I added up the CX price this morning, it's like 67 quid, I think, for all 5 of them. I think Lollipop Chainsaw itself will be worth more than that by the end of the year. So if it does go up that much, then you are getting new ones for free, essentially, or for not much at all. None of these are going to go down, let's be honest. They're all going to keep, people were saying, like, oh, maybe when the bubble burst, games might come down. Most of these are not at a price where they can come down. I think Lollipop Chainsaw will at least remain there if it doesn't go any higher, but I think it will go higher. They all look great on the shelf together, these 5. So yeah, let me know in the comments, do you have these 5 games? Do you have any of them? Are there any games that I've missed or you think I should pick up for my collection that I might not have? And thanks for watching and keep gaming. Thank you.